Oh.
Good morning. Today we'll be talking about extinction, and we'll take off a little strange way. Years ago, when our family would go for vacation during the summer, we would join with several other families and caravan up north along the coast into somewhat northern California. There would be probably about 5 families. One family would bring a camper. Everybody else would just go up with cars and with camping gear. And it's a long drive. We'd stop along the way for a day or two at Pismo Beach, climb sand dunes, which is pretty much a model for life. You go up 2 feet, come back 1 foot, and it's a lot of extra work, but fun. And we'd go clamming at Pismo Beach, which was hard work if you do it legally. The clams have to be a certain size, and it's exactly put down on the clamming fork. And if you don't and you get caught with one of the smaller clams, it's a big fine. So it was work, but fun. One thing we did a few summers was play volleyball on the beach. Now, the funny thing about it is that we played without nets. We just traced out a court, and we just visualized where the net would be, and we called it on an honor basis, and actually worked. It was a lot of fun, and the matter that there was no net there kind of gave us a sense of freedom about it. Anyway, we would go up the coast, go through San Francisco, and go north along Highway 101, and just a little bit north of Cloverdale, we would go off into the old Redwood Highway, which would then leave us between the two major highways, 101, which is somewhat inland, and then there was one that was on the coast. And we would, for the rest of the 2 weeks, we would stay at a redwood forest called Hendy Woods, which was pretty special, particularly since it wasn't a stop on a long highway. It was something you had to go to specifically. It was a great place, and it was not crowded usually. You could get 5 families in close proximity, big camping places, and just everything just right about it. It was sort of isolated. You could walk down from the campground directly to the Navarro River, and during the summer, it wasn't very full. You could find swimming holes all over, and it was like something out of the old Saturday Evening Post front of kids swimming in the country, and it was really, really great. And of course, the most prominent thing about it were these magnificent redwood trees. The coasts are a little taller and a little narrower than the ones that are inland, but the whole effect is like a cathedral, and you get this total, you're near nature. It's a spiritual feeling, and just special. We would just have the 2 weeks. We would do nothing dangerous except have maybe a little too much of the locally made cider, apple cider. You could drive to the coast in Mendocino, go hiking in a state park along the ocean. Just the whole thing was good. Now, if you had looked at the place we stayed in, Hendy Woods, Redwood Grove, you would, and somebody would ask you what seems like a stupid question, which has more life in it, the grove, the Hendy Woods, or the local desert, we would think you were kidding. Well, of course it was Hendy Woods. This magnificent place, you just totally felt a part of nature. This had to have more life in it. Well, yes or no. We had definitely more biomass. We had these huge trees. They had rosins in it, which kept them going without decay. The same property that allows you to make a redwood fence, and it'll decay, while if you put up any other wood, it would be taken over by insects. And these were the magnificent growths. How could you possibly think there was more life in the desert? Well, there was more biomass, lots of wood, but when you stay there and you get up early in the morning, walk around, maybe you'll see a deer or two, maybe. But the only other thing beside the redwoods are these little ferns all over. This was what made it great. You could walk between the redwoods. There'd be nothing obstructing you. You go out to the desert, there's a lot less biomass. There are a lot of species that live out there, and they coexist. It's not too much predator-prey relationship, but the number of species is high. So we have this funny phenomenon. We see these magnificent, magnificent creatures, the redwood forests, these old, highly successful, highly specialized, but there's very little else. The very, very successful species is pretty much squeezed out everything. And something a little similar is happening in the Earth now. We have this amazing, amazing species, the human species. It is the most intelligent species by far that has developed in 4 billion years of life on Earth. And it produces magnificent edifices. Fly over any great city and see what's built, see the bridges, see the cathedrals. This is just magnificent. But in many ways, we're doing what the redwood trees did. We are developing this magnificent structure, and it is squeezing out everything else, so that we are in the process of one of the great extinctions of all time. And this is something that we need to look at, and if we are going to be causing this great change, let's see what we can do about it. Let's see if we can modify it, and let's see if we can do it as part of Mother Nature. And let's also see whether we can reinterpret the passage in the Bible that gave the human species dominion over the other species of the earth. Can we enlarge that to make it a decent and noble dominion? See you next time.